couple sentences, we see Kaladin not liking light-eye things. And at this stage in its life, it's because it makes him stand out and not fit in. And like any kid his age, he wants to fit in and be accepted.
Just tighten that up and get rid of that background noise.
His age, he wants to fit in and be accepted. From the very beginning, he's kind of got a little bit of a thing against the light eyes and light-eyed things because it makes him the other.
Yeah, Callan's racist. Racist as hell.
Yeah, he...
Not really. That's more the light eyes. But yeah, I guess he has his own prejudice. You can call that racist or whatever, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah, he associates with 99% dark-eyed people.
So yeah, we have a girl or young woman.
I heard nah. Was that here? Oh yeah, it was. Get that out of here.
We have a girl.
Tighten this up. Got this tiny, tiny, tiny little sentence here. So quiet. Let's bring that up to a minus 12. There we go.
We have a girl.
Oh, I don't like that at all. Let's just leave it as is for now.
We have a girl or young woman, 15-year-old girl, Sani, who has, I believe she fell.
Oh, I heard an there.
I believe she
Oh yeah, there it is.
fell out of a tree and has
Amateur. The girl falling out of the tree, not Cody.
has mangled her hand. And it is her free hand. So I don't know if that's better or worse in their society.
Oh yeah, that's quality entertainment right there. Okay, so I had this partition off because this goes into a bit of a side tangent about the safe hand stuff. Let me see if this was keepable in the end.
I'd assume it'd be worse to have your freehand mangled.
I mean, I guess from like a personal productivity standpoint.
Let's pretend like we're keeping it for now and make some minor tweaks.
Personal productivity standpoint, yes, but I guess from like a culture like marriageability, desirability.
A mangled freehand or a mangled offhand, who knows?
Yeah, it does mention later in this chapter even that her parents will not be happy with this outcome that this girl has with her mangled hand because it will be grotesque and, words not mine, grotesque and unsuitable for a good match in her life.
So you see
One really gross hand. Unmarriable. I guess that, adds a little bit of flavor, relevant to the world, a little bit of side world building. If it comes down to it and if I feel like the podcast is a little bit too long, it's only 45 seconds, it's probably fine. So let's go ahead and actually edit this for real and get the ums out of there, because I definitely heard a couple.
society that if you're freehand, it's mangled, I guess. I assume it's better for the free hand.
I'd assume it'd be worse to have your freehand mangled.
I mean, I guess from like a personal productivity standpoint, yes, but I guess from like a culture like marriageability, desirability.
That's a k. We can leave that. Now, part of me thinks that I could trunicate this, maybe marriageability or whatever that is.
Ability, desirability.
I could make this not be as long as it is, but it's not hurting anyone. Gotta know when to edit and when to be like, not worth the effort. That, my friend, is not worth the effort.
Yeah, it does mention later in this chapter even.
Oh, there's an I knew I knew it. Gotcha. And go back here again.
It does mention. It does.
I don't need that.
It does mention.
Part of that's an it. Take that one out then.
Yeah, it does mention later in this
There we go.
chapter even that her parents will not be happy with this outcome that this girl has with her mangled hand.
Mhm.
Because it will be grotesque and the book's words, not mine. Grotesque and unsuitable for a good match. Like a good
Get that extra.
unsuitable for a good match in her life.
Man. Fucked up hand. Unmarriable.
So you see,
Go
and then
on.
that'll become a central part of conflict between
Why is that so far away?
Kaladin's family and Light Eyes, this bowl of spheres that's on loan from West
I don't think I realized it was the same bowl of spheres. Cody knows though. Oh, Cody knows.
Light Eyes, this bowl of spheres that's on loan from
From
Wistio.
Wistio. That's right.
Wistio.
Yeah, that's it. Bright Lord Wistia.
That's lighting their surgeon.
Quite the squeaky chair you've got there, my friend. Quite squeaky. Wow. That's an Get that whole thing out of there. Bye.
That's lighting their surgeon or surgery room. That's lighting their surgeon. Surgeon.
Where's that word start? Right here.
Surgeon.
Don't need that extra word,
Surgeon. Or
or surgery.
it's lighting their surgery room. Lighting the operating table. Lighting the operating table. So that they have solid even light to see by. That will become a point of contention.
It will, but will this little aside about it
Point
be
of
relevant?
contention later on.
Big gap there.
Right, they're Bromes, which is making this a fortune to any dark-eyed family, even a high-nond one.
And you can see Liren's priorities here, which to a degree conflict with Kaladin's, but so he's got this bowl of,
I feel like itching towards getting rid of this little aside here. I think it's kind of clunky and it doesn't really set it up as well as I think this next group of sentences will. But let's go ahead and hear about this real quick.
And you can see Liren's priorities here, which to a degree conflict with Kaladin's, but so he's got this bowl of, lots of money, technically, worth, but to him, his most prized possession is his spectacles. And he guards them very closely because they live out in the middle of nowhere. And he guards them very closely because they live out in the middle of nowhere. And it would be very hard to get them replaced. And honestly, you gotta wonder.
Boop. Boop.
Possession is his spectacles, and he guards them very closely because they live out in the middle of nowhere, and it would be very hard to get them replaced. And honestly, you gotta wonder how much they could even afford to replace or repair them if something were to happen to them.
Yeah, optometry does not have a calling.
So we see one of Liren's life principles that So we see one of Liren. So we see one of Liren's life principles that I think we do see in Kaladin and how he assesses people is we can tell a lot about a man from how he keeps his workspace. Is it sloppy or orderly? Did he respect his tools or did he leave them casually about?
Doing a lot of musing about the chapter, not a lot of actually digging into it yet. Get going.
So we see
That extra sound in there, I don't think we need it.
What?
Yeah.
So we see one of Liren's life principles that I think we do see.
Yeah, that's better. Okay, so all this is actually just describing the setup for the scene, and I don't actually think that this adds anything to it, so I'm going to make this cut. This has now become one conversation.
In her life.
So we see one of Liren's life principles that I think we do see in Kaladin and how he assesses people is we can tell a lot about a man from how he keeps his workspace. Is it sloppy or orderly? Did he respect his tools or did he leave them casually about? And at least when it comes to his spear and his boots and his...
Yep, I think that works better. Don't really need to talk about the goblet that much. It will come up a ton. What is this?
Treat.
Yeah, background noise. And instead of deleting. Alright. Let's go back and listen to this now.
We can tell a lot about a man from how he keeps his...
There's a secret little in there. I heard it. I fucking heard you. There it is.
people is we can tell a lot about a man from how he keeps his workspace. Is it sloppy or orderly? Did he respect his tools or did he leave them casually about? And at least when it comes to his spear and his boots and his jerkin, Kaladin definitely takes that to heart, treats his tools well.
Yeah, and that becomes a big theme in this book and the next and the next. How you rate armies almost on Roshar is how nice do they look?
And we have an interaction here that is just like a great parent-child interaction that when it comes to washing of hands and, It's wisdom of the heralds. It's the Kaladin's like every kid. It's like, yeah, I don't know if you're. Are,
All right, I think that sounds good. Let's go back and clean this up again real quick.
as well.
Yeah, and that becomes a big theme in this book and the next and the next. How you rate armies almost in how you rate armies almost in on Roshar is how nice do they look? You rate armies almost in armies on Roshar is on Roshar is how nice do they look?
How nice indeed.
And we have an interaction here that is just like a great parent. It's just like a great parent-child interaction that when it comes to washing of hands and it's wisdom of the heralds. It's the Kaladin's like every kid. It's like, yeah, I don't know if you're. Are you just BSing me? Or are you just trying to make me wash my hands to make me wash my hands? Is there really germs? Is it really a big deal?
Just tighten that up a little more. Do. As the title suggests, I keep getting a little bit distracted by the footballs. But the footballs is over, so I should be less distracted. Keep poking at that football.
You're just trying to make me wash my hands to make me wash my hands. Is there really germs? Is it really a big deal? Like every kid has those interactions with their parent where it's like, I know you tell me these things, but it's like, you're my dad. Do I really believe this? Is this really true? My friend told me it's not.
I like that. I'm leaving all that in. And I'm cutting up this. I'm cutting over here.
My friend told me it's not.
There's an extra my there.
My friend told me it's not.
Yeah, my friend said Rotspren don't care about water. Also, in that whole wisdom of the heralds things, they lay out, don't mix up the heralds with the lost radiant. Don't mix up the.
Got an extra don't in there.
Don't mix up the herald. Don't mix up the heralds with the lost radiance. Those doomed souls.
It's another part two where with kids it's another part two where with kids especially at that age, everything is very black and white, and it's very easy. They kids get caught up and they black and white, and it's very easy. Kids get caught up and the force are against it's good bad, and it's very black and white. The force are against it's good bad, and it's very black and white. It's like, oh, the heralds, they're demons, they're evil, and Lirin being wise, it's like, no, they are just men just like us that had too much power. And
right, it's also it's religion. interested
Mm-hmm.
in sort. Yeah, it's religion. Kids aren't too interested
Mm-hmm.
in sorting out the doctrine.
Yeah, I remember there'd be times as when I was, that age where it'd be like, oh, they disagree with them, that must mean they're the bad guys. It's like, no, they just
Yeah.
have a different opinion.
You can have that, overlap a little bit less. Let the flow between voices be a bit more natural.
No, they just
Yeah.
have a different opinion. That doesn't make them good or bad. It's just good or bad. It's
We're getting so close to finishing this up. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I think Kaladin is 10 here.
yeah. Brandon does a good job writing him here.
Yes, he's got boys, I believe.
Let's see how he changes the topic here.
Yeah, I mean, it goes on.
Another, I gotcha.
Sani or Sani.
Oh.
Sani or Sani, the girl's name, her hand is her. Mangled enough that he has to amputate one finger. The girl's name, her hand is mangled enough that he has to amputate one finger. I think that he does a good job here laying out. Well, I think that he does a good job here laying out. Well, Kaladin has a family. That cares about him. He also has a very abnormal and different life for his world.
Mm-hmm.
People don't see.
Gotcha.
People don't see things like this. I guess not much anywhere, but he is cared for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting back to that not fitting in.
All right. Let's go back. Let's back this up. This was a short section. Let's just get this from the start, please and thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it goes on. Sani or Sani, the girl's name, her hand is mangled enough that he has to amputate one finger. I think that he does a good job here laying out. Well, Kaladin has a family that cares about him. He also has a very abnormal and different life for his world.
Mm-hmm.
People don't see things like this. I guess not much anywhere, but he is cared for.
Yeah, it's getting back to that not fitting in. The others in town thought Liren spent too much time with books and sick people, and that made him strange. They were uncomfortable.
That's a read. So I'll actually make that last cut a little bit less harsh. Give a little bit of buffer in between where the sentence ends and the reading begins. And we will review a reading section at the end, as I've said a couple times.
And I think this is...
Let's listen to it, though, just so we know what he's talking about.
The others in town thought Liren spent too much time with books and sick people, and that made him strange. They were uncomfortable around him, and with Cal by association. Cal was only just beginning to realize how painful it could be, or could feel, to be different. And I think this is...
That's a short read. I'm not really going to add anything much to it. I'll, clean it up and make the pacing of the words a little bit better. But it's nice just to have the read sections clearly broken out like that, just for my own sanity, so I can skip past them and come back to them when I'm ready.
And I think this is a huge part in Kaladin underlying character struggles with depression and stuff, where he always kind of feels like the lone survivor, the other, the outside. It's like every time he thinks he finally finds someone in their group that accepts him, it's taken away, and he's doomed to just be that out.
Yeah, I think that works. Let me just go through the one again, because again, I let myself get a little distracted.
Always kind of feels like the lone survivor, the other, the outside. It's like every time he thinks he finally finds someone in their group that accepts him, it's taken away, and he's doomed to just be that outcast, and he always wants that group that he fits in with, like all of us do.
No, that's a good point. While he does have a loving immediate family, he doesn't have. Humans need something else besides just that, right? They need to feel part of a larger tribe than just their immediate family.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have that at all.
Cool. Let's just move this affirmative statement a little over to the left. Lessen the overlap just a little bit. There we go.
No, that's a good point. While he does, that's a good point. While he does have, that's a good point. No, that's a good. While he does, no, that's a good point. While he does have
Much nicer.
a loving immediate family, he doesn't have. Humans need something else besides just that, right? They need. They need to feel part of a larger tribe. They feel part of a large. They feel part of a right? They feel part of a larger tribe than just their immediate family.
Yeah.
That flows perfectly. Well done, me. Thank you. I'm welcome.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have that at all. And he doesn't really doesn't have that. He doesn't really have that at all.
It's you can see his you can see his you can see his mode of thinking, like his life goals are kind of locked in. Because he's like I'm not squeamish anymore seeing this mangled ham. He's like, my dad says it'll be good for surgery. He's like, my dad says it'll be good for surgery, but I think it'll be great when I go to war.
Let's make that laugh a little less delayed. Make him feel good about himself. That's a good one.
He's probably not wrong.
So they just they're going through the procedure. Yeah, they're going through the procedure here, and Kaladin accurately predicts that they will need to.
Welcome, welcome. You're witnessing madness and greatness and mediocrity and
Kaladin accurately
Salami.
predicts that they will need to amputate the finger, and
get that out of here. We're having a lot of fun right now. We're we got 9 minutes left to kind of review and determine whether it's staying or going, and get rid of some of the empty spaces, make everyone sound really smart and intelligent. So we're close. Obviously, it doesn't count the readings, like I said, but
proud of him.
we might
for
actually get to do the music stuff tonight before it gets too late.
proud of him for making that.
Let's go back a little bit.
They're going through the procedure here, and Kaladin accurately predicts that they will need to amputate the finger, and his father's proud of him for
I
making
will
that
also
accurate
send
call.
you a
And
chat of
so once again, his father's thinking, "I guess he's gonna be a great surgeon," and Kaladin is thinking, "I'm gonna be a great soldier," and just
I was totally distracted there by playing with the chat. I missed any ums. I gotta go back.
yeah, they're going through the procedure here, and for making that accurate call. And so once again, his father's thinking, "I guess he's gonna be a great surgeon," and Kaladin is thinking, "I'm gonna be a great soldier," and just
We can get rid of that. I'll get that out of there. Yeah, we don't need that.
and just completely different trains of thoughts throughout this whole interaction.
Yeah, I believe those separate chains of thought. I believe those separate chains of thought run for years more until they're kind of brought out in the open.
Alright. So this section, how big was that? Alright, so that was the post after this little tiny short read-in. This little section was about minute 15, not bad. All relevant, all on topic. That gets a pass. So let's see if I broke this off because it's a change in topic or a big old tangent.
Another important part, quandary that's laid part.
Don't worry, Murtaugh. No one will ever know that you had to change words there.
Another important quandary that's laid down in this chapter for Cal is, let me read this. Lyrian says, "It is good to care.
Oh, that's why I broke it out. More reading. They did a lot of reading in this chapter. But I don't think that stays for very long.
It is good to care," Lyrian said, "but caring, like anything else, can be a problem if it interferes with your ability to perform surgery." Well,
You don't need that little noise at the end at all. Don't need that.
while Lyrian's talking about surgery there, that becomes a whole more worldwide issue for Cal.
Alright.
More worldwide issue for Cal. He can't stop. He can't turn off his stop. He can't turn off his. He can't stop. Cal.
So it's the he's here. He can't
stop.
He can't stop. Or he won't.
Cal. He can't turn off his constant stream of empathy. He can't.
There we go. That sounds better. Let's listen to that all together now.
For Cal's, he can't turn off his constant stream of empathy. He can't not care. Even when he's killing people. And that becomes important to him, but he's not like Liren.
Let's see if we can get that out of there.
Killing people. And that
a little bit less.
uh,
Let's do that, and then do a quick little sneaky fade in to make it less harsh.
even when he's killing people. That becomes important to him, but he's not like Liren.
As intelligible as it's going to be.
Yeah, and this is like another. I feel like. And this is like another. I feel like. This is like another. I feel like, example with the writing of.
Alrighty. That's the end of a word.
This is like another. I feel like example with the writing of a classic, quintessential like parent-child interaction. So Liren gives him this. Liren gives him this word of wisdom, this advice. It's good to care, but you have to, for your own good. For your own good, and in this case, he's very focused on the surgery part. But you have to have a balance there. You can't care so much it inhibits your ability to.
Good. Just tighten it up a teensy weensy bit.
Part, but you have to have a balance there. You can't care so much it inhibits your ability to perform, or but Kaladin's response, he's like, caring too much can be a problem, but you're so selfless you never
We don't need this extra
but you're so selfless you never charge
a little bit too harsh.
So selfless you never charge
There
for
we
your
go.
work, so we're poor. But so he immediately like, oh, this is advice coming from. But so he immediately. But so he. So we're poor. He immediately like, oh, this is advice coming from you. He has issues, disregards it. But it almost mirrors exactly what the advice he gets when he goes to train, when he joins the army.
I think I detected an in there. Let me go back and check. Elimination.
When he goes to train, when he joins.
Yeah, I heard you. Nice try. Nice try. Gone.
He goes to train when he joins the army, and Tux says almost the exact same thing. It's in.
Just move that yes over here.
And Tux says almost the exact same thing. It's it's like it's good to care, but you can't let it over.
There's an extra
You can't let it overwhelm you, but you also you have to care, because if you don't care and you try to numb yourself, you'll hate who you become. But you also can't care so much it inhibits you. And Kaladin takes that advice. It's like when there's so many times where our parents will give us a life advice and we're like, yeah, you're my parent, you don't know what you're talking about. But then But then someone else we respect in our life gives us that exact same advice and we're like, oh, that's great advice.
all relevant, all true.
Right, yeah, he does take that advice, but it was already easy for Kaladin. To care. He's getting that same advice to arrive at the.
I gotta do something. I gotta do something to keep myself entertained. It's funny because
He's getting that same advice.
because obviously this is probably the most tedious part of the editing process, is listening and paying close attention to get rid of those ums.
Calvin in the care isn't. All right, he's getting that same advice to arrive at the same middle point of caring.
But talking to them like they're hidden criminals, that helps. This is like the director's cut, or like the, what do they do those called? The commentaries, or like, there's a word for that. Behind the scenes? I don't know.
From different spectrums, like, hey, you can't be such a cold killer out in the battlefield. Hey, you can't care too much when you're on the surgery table because you have to focus, like that kind of thing. Like, but it's arriving at the same point.
Mm-hmm.
You it's good to care, but you can't, find your. You can't, find your
Find your balance.
find your equilibrium, and Calden can't. Calden can't. And Calden can't.
Get rid of that weird noise.
And Calden can't find his equilibrium.
This is a problem I can sympathize with. This is a problem I can sympathize with.
Right.
Extremely empathetic to sometimes my own emotional detriment and yeah, you gotta find that balance.
Exactly.
From here we move into
Alright, so let's take a quick step back again, see how long that last section was. We got a new section here, that's 2 minutes 14, that's good, that's a good nice long section. And let me just see, how did the conversation flow from this section to here?
Brought out in the open. Another important quandary.
I'll just connect that here. So this is now one nice big section of keepable audio, continuous keepable conversation for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And look at that. Oh, I didn't even notice. I must have missed it, but we are now under 30 minutes left in net audio, which is incredible. Again, we started at over an hour and 4 minutes or something like that, and over the course of yesterday, day before that, and today, we've gotten it finally under the 30 minute mark. And it might bump up a little bit when we add like the theme song in and the outros or whatever, but audio content wise, having it under 30 minutes is, perfect for my taste. I like to keep it nice and brief and succinct if possible. So let's see. Left off. Yep, we just finished this one here. So now we have to figure out if this last section, and I'm going to be a little bit less forceful with cutting things at this point. We're obviously nearing the end. I'm under the 30-minute mark, so I don't feel too worried about the length of this episode. So I won't be as liberal with cutting things in this last section if I don't have to be. So this is your time, Cody.
from here we move into
We got a couple wheeze in there. Come on.
we move here we
There we go.
from here we move into
Oh, come on. Making me work for it.
into why he was late, because he shows up a couple minutes late to the call. To the call for the
For the... Don't need that for the...
he obviously wasn't where he was supposed to be and doing what he was supposed to be doing, so he doesn't make it show up right away. And so he doesn't make it show up right away. And make it supposed to be doing. So he doesn't show up right away, and so his father is like, well, so where were you?
Where were you, Cal? Collecting rocks with your brother?
Well, so where were you? You're learning to beat other boys with a stick.
Oh, that's right. He was at the spear fight. Naughty, naughty. Not
Learning
the
to
spear fight. The
learning to beat other boys with a
broom
stick.
handle.
Yeah, he wasn't where he was supposed to be or doing what he was supposed to be doing what he was supposed to be doing, but at the same time he's a 10-year-old boy, so he's doing exactly what he was supposed to be doing.
This leads into the primary dynamic between Liren and Kaladin for the next.
Doing what he was
I think that P for primary was a little bit harsh. We're just gonna take that. We're gonna do a little fade in.
Primary dynamic between Liren.
That's a little bit less harsh of a P.
This leads into the primary dynamic between Liren and Kaladin for the next 12 years, of his life, and only really just got resolved in.
I remember most of this actually, since I only just did this part last night. So I know that most of this is good, so I'll just do the quick tightening. Do a listen back for my ums, for my uhs. Alright, let's go back.
And Kaladin for the next 12 years, of his life, and only really just got resolved in the end of Rhythm of War to some degree, and
No, I heard that.
then the end.
Gotcha. Nice try.
Got resolved in the end of Rhythm of War to some degree, but it's he kind of getting into that black and white.
It's
he kind of getting into that black and white thinking a little bit. He kind of develops this, I have only two options in life, and it's kind of like the character is like, it takes him $4 to realize that he needs to find that. It takes him $4 to realize that he needs to find that balance that works for him. That he can't be either just the soul. He can't be either just the soldier he wants to be, or just the surgeon that his father wants. That it's not just. Or just the surgeon that his father wants. That it's not just you kill or you save. There's no in between.
Right. I think that's summed up in his question to his father right here. His question that he asked to himself many times in the future. And what of those who protect and defend? The ones who save.
I got you, Murtaugh. Don't worry.
The ones who.
No one will ever know.
The ones who save lives by taking lives. And it takes them a long time.
Let's get that fade out.
Lives. Save lives by taking lives. And it takes him a long time. He asked his father this at 10, but he's in his 20s.
Gotcha.
He's in his 20s, early 20s, before he can partially figure this out for him. Maybe start to figure it out.
I don't know.
There's a bit of a mic twang there at the end. Let's fade it out, see if it goes away.
Start to figure it out.
Oh, it's like right here.
Yeah. Figure it out.
That's why it's like right here in the middle of the word. Maybe I can just like bring this tiny little bit down a bit. Nope, wrong way. Not quite enough. That's like minus 16. That's actually where it is anyway. Minus 18.
Start to figure it out.
Yeah, it's as good as it's gonna get, unfortunately.
I don't know if this was intentional foreshadowing or just pure coincidence, but yeah, when he says that his father responds, it's like trying to stop a storm by blowing harder, which Kaladin kind of did for like a few moments in Oathbringer.
Yeah.
That's true.
He just keeps running, right?
Man, he really liked that one. I don't blame him. I'm laughing too. Can you hear it?
Yeah. He just keeps running, right?
Ooh, there's a bit of a there.
He just keeps running, right? Until it can't no more.
Yeah, and I think. Yeah, and I think Lear. Think Lirin, you know, like any good parent, wants the best for his son, wants his son to succeed. You know, there's been, you know, as he talks about how his grandfathers, you know, they slowly worked to be able to buy them up to the Second Dawn and get them in this position, and then Lirin was able to go, you know, to the big. You know, to the big town nearby, learn how to be a surgeon, and, you know, he wants.
There's a lot of you knows, but I'm not worrying about them as much right now. As I said, already under 30 minutes.
His son to
That one's going there.
his son to succeed even more than him and take the next step forward in life. You know, he's hoping to get him married to Wisiel's daughter, and he wants him to go to Kharbranth and train to be a proper true surgeon, and, you know, kind of see a bit of the world and be better than what he is. And he gets very tunnel vision, I think, on that, and does not, and kind of misses because of that, and does not vision, I think, on that, and kind of misses because of that, where Kaladin's heart really is, and very much is like, this is the dream I have for you, you need to fulfill this dream. And
I think it's a combination of, he wants his best life possible.
Oh yeah, this part has a little bit of a bedtime refusal from the kids in the background. So let's see how disruptive it is.
I think it's a combination of, he wants his best life possible for his son. He wants him to be safe, and he wants to protect him. And he's also living vicariously through his son a little bit. I mean, he wants him to be what he is, but even better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think as the chapter's ending,
Ever so slight child talking in the background. How much do I want to put into this? Let's get that one more time.
I think it's a combination of, he wants his best.
It's kind of like a nonsense sound anyway.
Combination of, he wants the best life possible for his son. He wants him to be safe, and he wants to protect him. And he's also living vicariously through his son a little bit. I mean, he wants him to be what he is, but even better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I'll leave it in just because they're talking about parent-child relationships anyway, and got the kid in the background, whatever. Their big break.
Yeah, and I think as the chapter's ending,
where's that where does it start? Fade out.
As the chapter's ending,
That's better.
Kaladin starts to not starts to, but finishes with him agreeing with his father. Yeah, that's the better choice, being a surgeon. I'm 10. I agree with my dad.
You're 10, you agree with your dad except for bedtime. That's what Murtaugh Jr. in the background is telling us.
Better choice, being a surgeon. I'm 10. I agree with my dad.
He tells him that he's been saving for him to go to Carbranth, and that kind of gets him excited. You know, Lyran's line to him here: "You have a gift. You have a gift from the Herald. Here, you have a."
Gotcha.
Line to him here: "You have a gift from the Herald."
Actually, what I'll do is I'll make a silence, so there's a bit of a breakup between those statements.
Line to him here: "You have a gift from the heralds themselves. You could be 10 times the surgeon. You could be 10 times the surgeon I am. Don't dream the small dreams of other men." But
Yeah.
I'd say, you know, Kaladin's dream.
Quite dismissive, Papa.
I'd say, you know, Kaladin's dream isn't necessarily like, I mean, at this point it is to be a soldier, but when it gets into adulthood and when he does start to become a Radiant and, you know, him and his father are reunited and the headbutting continues, I mean, in many ways at that point, Kaladin's dream is not a small dream. It's he wants to protect everyone.
It's he?
He
Yeah, that makes sense.
wants to protect everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point he still hasn't found. I mean, at that point he still hasn't. I mean, at that point he still hasn't found the balance, but he has it. You know, he's refounding an order. He's refounding an order of radiance, and he wants. Founding an order of radiance, and he wants to protect everyone in it. Radiant. Order of radiance, and he wants to protect everyone, and it's once he starts to come to terms with needing to find a balance and rhythm of war that he finds his dream of helping people that have suffered mentally and
Mental health revolution. Exactly what Roshar needed.
I think that's where he finally finds that.
Unfortunately, they're going to realize that by increasing their mental health coverage, they inadvertently created fewer problems for their potential radiants, thereby decreasing their long-term numbers in recruitment. Uh-oh. Not really.
Dream of helping people that have suffered mentally, and I think that's where he finally finds that dream and that balanced mission.
Yeah, you start to see the
You start
to see the beginnings of what
Gotcha.
he really wants.
Mm-hmm.
What makes him feel good, which is what everyone's trying to search for in their profession, right? I'm doing good and I feel good.
The last thoughts I have on this chapter, it's surprisingly deep from what I would have expected originally. I thought I would have had more to say about chapter 1 and had more notes than chapter 10, but it was the other way around. So before we wrap up, I want to make a note of what our release schedule is going to be.
Gotcha.
So before we wrap up, I want to make a note of what our release schedule.
It's a little bit late. I when they recorded this, I had the idea to like take this when it was recorded because it had been before we were releasing any of the prologue episodes, and it was when I came up with the 10-day cycle for release dates. And he recorded this, and it was, you know, really nicely spoken, and I should have taken this audio from this future recording and slapped it in somewhere in a previous episode, but people are 6 episodes in, maybe they haven't caught on that it's every 10 days, so this should clear it up for them.
So before we wrap up, I want to make a note of what our release schedule is going to be looking like with the podcast as we get going here. To stay on brand, we are looking at releasing every 10 days for the podcast. A little bit unusual, but we wanted to
That's right, Cody. Justify my weird choice.
have some fun with the theme every get our 10 have some fun with the theme every
It makes no sense, but we did it anyway.
the theme get our 10s in here, so we would encourage you to subscribe, get our 10s in here with the theme get our 10s in get our 10s in here, so we would
Cody is our like and subscribe boy.
here, so we would encourage you to subscribe. We're on iTunes.
Damn straight we're on iTunes.
Subscribe. We're on iTunes now, right? Are we searchable on iTunes? Okay. So before we go, I just wanted to make a
Oh wait, I think that now this is like the second take. I think did I not remove the second take?
So before we go, I just wanted to make a note of the podcast release.
Oh, I left the second take in there. Let me figure it out. Where did this end?
Is to stay on brand with tins on Rochard. You can subscribe to us on all your favorite podcast feeds, iTunes, Spotify, whatever you normally get your podcasts on. Get your podcasts on, and stay tuned. Stay close.
Fucking that actually killed me last night when I heard him say "stay close." Oh.
To stay on brand with tins on.
Okay, where is that?
Well, on iTunes. Okay.
Oh.
Stay close.
Oh, let me see if it's this. So.
And stay. You normally get your podcasts on, and
Let me just see.
you can subscribe to us on all your favorite podcast feeds, iTunes, on all. Subscribe to. Can subscribe. You can subscribe.
Director's cut. Effect. Fade in. Yes. Oops.
Are you searchable on iTunes? Okay. You can subscribe to us on all your favorite podcast feeds, iTunes, Spotify, whatever you normally Spotify, whatever you normally get your podcasts on, and
I don't know why it makes you laugh.
stay tuned.
It's just the weirdest way to say it. Stay close. Fucking hell, man. It's so funny.
Stay tuned for the new episodes and keep an eye out in your feeds. Thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned for the new episodes and keep an eye out in your feeds.
Perfect. And this is the actual outro. This is what will be overlaid with the music.
Thank you for joining us today. As always,
Oh, look at that. I'm going to make it exact just because I can. Oof, easily done. Look at that. 27 minutes, 36 seconds on the dot. Oh, from an hour and 4 minutes comes this beautiful, beautiful work of art. A podcast that's maybe 80% done because I still have to do the reading parts. But like I was saying yesterday, that's kind of the fun bit as well for me, because I get to kind of mess around, listen to it, make it nice, make it flow, and peruse through my licensed music subscription to Epidemic Music, all their various musics, and try to find something that matches well with the vibe of the read-in, so to speak. It's midnight. Normally this is where I call it. Unfortunately, I've only been going for an hour and 20, and I still have more to do. But I'm going to go take a quick break. I'm going to... Oh, I don't have a break screen yet. I have a stream starting. I've got a technical difficulties one. We've got to make a... Gotta make a be right back. Alright, let's do this. We'll make a big star. A nice big old purple star. And actually first, do a big old green dump. That's right. And we'll make this a solid purple star right in the middle. That's not what I was expecting at all. I was expecting solid purple on purple. There we go. This isn't a flag, is it? And then just, oh, that's clashing quite a bit. Let's make that white. There we go. Be right back. Please clap. There we go. Let's make that a little more. Very nice. Only the finest. BRB. Only the finest art on the Kevin Podcast's Twitch channel. Subsidiary of Kevin Podcast Limited, and in partnership with Kevin's all over the world. And shout out to your Kevins. Shout out to your number one Boo thing. Oh, there it is. The brand new thing I just made. I wasn't even ready for it. I'll be right back. Let's make it bigger. Even bigger. It takes up the full screen. Stop snapping. Perfect. It's just that easy. And I'll leave you with a little bit of music until I return. Let's just go to... Oh, let's do the classic. Be right back. Just a moment more, I'm almost ready. Alrighty. We are no longer BR writing backing, we're in clapping, we are back here now. Those were words. Oh. Alright, just psyching myself up. This is the quote-unquote creative part. Done a lot of the technical stuff. A lot of the stuff that just requires time and a lot of effort. Just making quick save right there, save early, save often, that's to say. So, in review, the things I have left to do on this episode, I have to make the theme song with Cody's introduction there, because he does not have one made for him yet. I have to add a transition in between right here to bridge between the conversations of Chapter 1 to Chapter 10. I have to add the end outro bit of music to this section right here. And I have to go back through the reading sections, mainly specifically the read-ins for the chapters. So this is the one for Chapter 1. And then this much shorter one is the one for Chapter 10. So previously on like the prologue episodes, we ended up having a read in and a read out for each chapter. I kind of like that they accidentally only did 2 read ins instead. Kind of mixes up the format a little bit, throws them off, where people might be expecting a readout. They're not going to get one. So they're going to get 2 read ins. So that means I've got to figure out 2 songs that match the theme or the vibe or the flow, whatever, of these read in sections. So, just again, recap: theme song, end theme, little transition, and music for read ins. That's all we got left, and then this is basically ready to ship on the 20th, and not a day sooner. Alright. Let's do some easy stuff. Let's do some quick stuff. I'm going to open the project file for the last version of the theme song that I just made. Intro song. The last version I made was the one for Leia in the last prologue. So this is how I typically end up doing it. I have, these are the original stem files of the music. I condense those down into a single mix right here. So this has at the appropriate volume for not being too loud for the talking over. TY to D for pointing out to me that it needed a bit of adjustment in terms of not being too loud for the speakers to actually be overpowered. So might still go back and fix those early episodes, but I've already gone back and fixed it for like the versions of the themes for future use. But anyway, this is like a fun little thing that I do. Again, I don't expect people to fully notice it or appreciate it. I mean, because who really pays that much attention to the theme song? But I like having it be a different one of us every time. And obviously I'm making new ones as I get the voice lines from real recordings. But pretty soon we will have all of them. We've got, at this point, type, let's just sort that. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 of them already done, and this will be number 6. So we're just missing at that point a version for Moradin and a version for D, actually. Oh, gonna have to get your vocals for one of these intros. Anyway, I don't even know if you're still here. You may not be, and that's okay. Anyway, back to work. That's what I was doing. So this was the project file for the last version, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste the audio from our current recording right there. You can kind of see, the way I organize it is I break the statements up into tiny little chunks, which I will do so to try to keep the pacing of it consistent. Let's just mute that, but we're going to leave it there basically to act as a template.
Where we speak again,
Oh, well, let's solo that for now.
Where we speak again, the ancient oaths by...
Okay, so oaths is the word that it cuts off at. I know this because I made them. Duh. Slide this over here. You can kind of tell too, like, since they're saying the same words, the wavelengths look relatively similar, so you can kind of guess where to cut off.
And put everything into a wider...
Those two. Let's just see what's specifically there.
And put every...
Okay, so it's the and.
And put everything...
Put the split there. That way we can tighten up this S sound. A little bit. Just a little bit. Just nitty bitty baby. It doesn't have to be perfect either, because different people speak at different speeds. but you just try to get the timing of the words relatively the same.
And put everything into a wider Cosmere context.
Oh, he really dragged that out. Just make this as tight as possible. That's our spoiler warning. So if we have listeners that are, oh, I skip intros thing, they're missing the spoiler tag right there at the beginning. Oh.
So a spoiler warning is in effect for every Cosmere book.
Let's just move that, because that's just a big so, because she had a huge so for hers.
Published at the time. Is in effect.
Let's just clean this up. Appreciate the enunciation, Cody, but you gotta fit my rhythm scheme. What are you thinking? Not doing exactly as I wanted you to do, without me telling you.
Is in effect for every. Is in effect for every Cosmere book published at the time of recording, and that means up to Rhythm of War for now.
Actually, I like that perfectly almost. I'm just gonna leave them where they are. Let's just get these all trimmed up. Get those extra bits out of there. Couple stragglers. And for the record, I dragged them over here because I've already spent so much time putting these specifically just so that if I didn't move them over when I go to delete them, it would just shift them all over. So just saves myself a little extra work. Okay. So I kind of like the way that that sounded at the end. He had a good pace actually, even though I was making fun of him. But let's give this another listen, and we'll mute Leia, and we'll just take it all in. Just gonna take it all in. We'll lean back in my chair, just close my eyes, and put my second headphone in. Just really get immersed in the music, yeah. For this incredible 35-second long theme song.
Welcome to Return to Roshar, where we speak again the ancient oaths by going through Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight books and put everything into a wider Cosmere context. So a spoiler warning is in effect for every Cosmere book published at the time of recording, and that means up to Rhythm of War for now.
Yeah, it was a little bit clunky at the end, wasn't it? Oof. I like to have a little bit of a gap between the for now and the Rhythm of War. Honestly, it's because of the way Anna said it when she did it first, because I made her theme her own voice as the first one. And the way that she had used the intonation, I just can't help but force everyone else to say it the same way.
Up to Rhythm of War for now. Rhythm of War.
Rhythm. Yes, I'm a little bit picky, but this is the musician in me. I can't help it. Can't help it. It's good and it's bad. Alright, let's see. What is this part?
And that means up to
up through Rhythm of War for now. This recording, and that means up through.
And that means
recording, and that means up.
move this up here. And I'll move this over here. All right, time to close my eyes again. Just see how it feels. All at the beginning. Let's start again. Let's try that again. All right. Mute. Bump you up by 3. All right.
Welcome to Return to Roshar, where we speak again the ancient oaths by going through Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight books and put everything into a wider Cosmere context. So a spoiler warning is in effect for every Cosmere book published at the time of recording, and that means up to Rhythm of War for now.
I might shove this over by like a hair. Just a little bit. I think part of the problem is that when Anna said it, she literally like spoke in the beat of the song, so I just had to force everyone else to do that too because it was just so, it just worked.
Up to Rhythm of War for now. Up to Rhythm of War for now.
Oh, that's probably what it's too.
Rhythm of
Rhythm.
War. Rhythm of War for
Let's give that less harsh of a break here, actually. Just slide that over here instead. And let's just fade that out ever so slightly.
Up to Rhythm of War for now. Up to Rhythm of War for now. Up to Rhythm of War for now. Up to Rhythm of War for now.
I like that. That'll do. Alright, so let's get rid of this stream. Just get it clean one more time.
Welcome to Return to Roshar, where we speak again the ancient oaths by going through Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight books and put everything into a wider Cosmere context. So a spoiler warning is in effect for every Cosmere book published at the time of recording, and that means up to Rhythm of War for now.
Alright, yeah, I think that'll do it. That will do it. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Let's normalize this, brethren. First, let's limit it to -6. Perfect. And now we normalize it to -4. Perfect. 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 almost perfect. And I want to peak that with this. Perfect. Alright. And now we bump that back to 0 because the gain is built in. And let's give this a quick mix and render the new track. Perfect. And then we'll just apply, normalize to -4. Perfect. There we go. Theme song. Let's save it. Okay, so I've got that. I got it saved. I got the mix. I'll just take this, copy, paste, name, theme song. Now this goes away. Actually, that's why I have this extra track, is for deleting. And this, that also goes away. We can delete those. Just make sure. Yep, nothing on it. And we got the theme song. Let's bump this baby up to the tippy top. Not up, I meant top. Perfect. Oh, that's my screen. And then we have to take everything else. And I mean everything else. And shift it all accordingly to make room for the theme song. I usually have a little bit of overlap with the fade out. That's usually fine. That's generally how I do it. What is this? What? What? The fuck were you doing there? The hell's your problem? Alright. So, checklist of remaining items. Theme song. Done. Transition for the middle. Do I want to use one that I've already made, or do I want to make a new one? I made a new one last time. Let me think. I'll do this one. Nah, that's the one I used last time. That's the classic. I'll use the classic. It's always good to go back to classic, kind of build a brand identity. That one sounds like Harry Pottery for some reason. I don't know why I made it like that, but it's a nice little short, quick, snappy, fantasy-esque. Move track up. Short transition 1. Leave it named like that. Perfect. So now that we've got that, let's just add a real fade in. Fade in, and just a teensy bit of a fade out. There's already one built in, obviously, but just a little bit more. That way, we don't actually have to have it aligned perfectly, so we can have it fading in as the sentence is ending. And then when we go up here and we move everything, we don't have to move the theme song one because that's all the way at the beginning. We can highlight all of the remaining audio. Ooh, too far. And then we just slide it on over here to just about there where the fade out ends. And then obviously, we're not locking it based on the end of it. We could do that, but we're not, because sometimes it's nicer to have the fade in overlap with the talking. So let's listen to it, see if it sounds good.
And that we reach the end of the chapter.
Yep, that's it. Cliffhanger.
In this chapter, we are looking.
Perfect. Clockwork. All right. To-do list. Theme song. Check. Transition for the middle bit. Check. Last of the easy things. Add the outro instrumental. And I've got that, of course, at the ready. And of course, when I originally made it, I did not properly normalize it and quiet it for podcast usage, so I have to do it the same way every time. Why would I do that? Let's get this down to -16 where it belongs. That's like it. That's more like it. All right. So let's have a nice little fade in start before he even starts the full outro. But we'll actually give this a little bit more breathing room. So the music starts fading in and then he starts talking. And much like before, let's give this a real fade in. Oh, that'll be nice. Again, I wonder, show of hands, how many podcast listeners, when they hear the last little bit of music, do they just like, all right, podcast's over and just close it out? I'll have to see if there's like retention stats out there that I could check out. I don't know why I put them in there. It just feels nice to have a thing to do at the beginning and the end, but I don't know how much it actually matters to the podcast consumer as a whole. All right, let's give that a listen and see how that flows.
Stay tuned for the new episodes and keep an eye out in your feeds. Thank you for joining us today.
Let's give that a little bit more breather room, actually.
Stay tuned for the new episodes and keep an eye out in your feeds. Thank you for joining us today.
Actually, you want that to have even more breathing room. I don't know why I keep moving this piece over. It doesn't have anything. It's literally silence. That's why it's going away. You're gone. Anyway. Actually, what I might be needing to do as well is maybe I just feel like it needs to start a little bit sooner then. Let's try that.
Stay close, stay tuned. Stay tuned for the new episodes and keep an eye out in your feeds. Thank you for joining us today. As always, journey before destination, and we hope you'll return to Roshar with us again next time.
Perfect. Mwah. Muito excelente. Outro? Done. So, remaining items checklist. Intro theme. Done. Transition. Done. Outro. Done. All that's left is the read-ins. So the first thing I genuinely do with this, and part of why I've kept this blank audio track this whole time, I do genuinely use them to delete extraneous bits, but I also pull the readings to a completely separate line so that I can manipulate them without fear of shifting anything else. So that's a little trade tip there, I guess, for you. But get rid of that silence, because again, that's all it is. So for this first section, again, I give myself liberty to, provide a bit of spacing between words, make it flow as I feel like I want to make it flow. So in its raw, unedited format, the reading is 2 minutes and 42 seconds. So I'll look for a song that has roughly around that amount of time. I don't mind if it's a short read and clipping something and kind of Frankensteining my own version of a short version of that song. You know, that's part of it too. But if you can find a song length that's approximately around about that, you know, especially if you go a little bit over, it gives you some wiggle room. So that's the first read-in, and the second one is actually a bit shorter. So that means I'll have a little bit less work to do, which will be nice. And the other tiny, you know, sporadic readings, I'll go back through and touch them up, see if they need any cleaning up and editing, but I'm really trying to limit the music to just kind of the main ones, so those are the most important ones. So that's why I look at music. So the second one is 1 minute and 1 second. So I'll probably either have to find a very short song or create something for it, which is fine. So again, 2 minutes and 42 seconds. So I'll swing my Explorer over here as part of the process. You know, this is where I was playing music from before, but this is the service that I use for music. Pay a subscription to them, and I get access to all this music for my podcasts, for this stream, so I don't get in trouble. And I use it quite a lot. So before I actually go back to there, let's actually listen to this reading for the first time. Try to get a vibe for what it's like. I think it's like the intro scene with Kaladin on the battlefield, so it's probably going to be something that's like kind of like an epic kind of hero kind of fanfare type music. So just kind of going into it with that mindset.
Chapter 1, Stormblast. 5 years later. I'm going to die, aren't I? Sen asked. The weathered veteran beside Sen turned and inspected him. The veteran wore a full beard, cut short. At the sides, the black hairs were starting to give way to gray. I'm going to die, Sen thought, clutching his spear, the shaft slick with sweat. I'm going to die. Oh, Stormfather, I'm going to die. How old are you, son? The veteran asked. Sen didn't remember the man's name. It was hard to recall anything while watching that other army form lines across the rocky battlefield. That lining up seemed so civil, neat, organized, short spears in the front ranks, long spears and javelins next, archers at the sides. The dark-eyed spearmen wore equipment like Sen's leather jerkin and knee-length skirt, with a simple steel cap and a matching breastplate. Many of the Light Eyes had full suits of armor. They sat astride horses, their honor guards clustering around them with breastplates that gleamed burgundy and deep forest green. Were there shard bearers among them? Bright Lord Amarim wasn't a shard bearer. Were any of his men? What if Sen had to fight one? Ordinary men didn't kill shard bearers. It happened so infrequently that each occurrence was now legendary. It's really happening, he thought with mounting terror. This wasn't a drill in the camp. This wasn't training out in the field swinging sticks. This was real. Facing the fact, his heart pounding like a frightened animal in his chest, his legs unsteady, Sen suddenly realized that he was a coward. He shouldn't have left the herds. He should never have. Son, the veteran said, voice firm, how old are you? 15, sir. And what's your name? Sen, sir. The mountainous, bearded man nodded. I'm Dalit. Dalit, Sen repeated, still staring out at the other army. There were so many of them. Thousands. I'm going to die, aren't I? No, Dalit had a gruff voice, but somehow that was comforting. You're going to be just fine. Keep your head on straight, stay with the squad. But I've barely had 3 months training. He swore he could hear faint clangs from the enemy's armor or shields. I can barely hold this spear. Stormfather, I'm dead. I can't. Son, Dalit interrupted, soft but firm. He raised a hand and placed it on Sen's shoulder. The rim of Dalit's large round shields reflected the light from where it hung on his back. You are going to be fine. How can you know? It came out as a plea. Because, lad, you're in Kaladin's Stormblast squad. The other soldiers nearby nodded in agreement.
Okay. action-packed as I expected. Alright, so while I kind of mull that over, I'm just gonna do the housekeeping bits that I've gotta do to play with this as much as I'd like to. So the same thing that you just watched me do with making the theme song. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna clip each individual sentence, so to speak. And normally in the regular parts of the podcast, I would be cutting all these gaps in speech out, but with an audiobook reading and that kind of style, it really lends itself well to have dramatic pacing that flows with the way the story itself was written, but also just if you can find a way to make it flow well with some music in the background, it just kind of enhances it. This is always like I don't always save this for last, but it's one of the more fun parts, so I figured that since I was streaming the creation of this episode, I'd put the most fun part at the very end. Oh god, I've got to get better at this. Yeah, just put everyone through the boring punching trees version of what I was doing for the past 2 days. This is how you use the compression tool to reduce background noise, or rather, so you can amplify the appropriate things without amplifying the background noise. I still fucking mess up the compression all the time. I have the Wikipedia page constantly open, that tab, like I have a tab for the compression tool, because I always forget what the little check mark for the bass and the peaks or not. Fucking. By that I mean to say that it's not as tricky as it looks. It's just kind of getting comfortable with it and knowing your basic tools. Like, I can go quickly with this type of thing because I use Control-I, the shortcut, instead of the split. You don't want it to go into the menu every time you want to make a split like this. Especially with the way I edit these. God damn. And what we'll find is that as I do this, occasionally I'll cut it the wrong place. But then I can fix it. There we go, I'm gonna make a liberal one right there. Let's give that some time to breathe. Don't worry, the music is coming. We're doing a late stream. Oh my goodness. It's getting dark out there. At 1 o'clock in the morning. Morning, evening, whatever. I was talking about this being the most fun part, and then I do the most boring part of the fun part. I am just the best type of content creator that this website could have ever hoped for, and all I can say is that to my one viewer. You're reaping the rewards here. Oof. You are getting fresh, premium, put you to sleep content. I'll make sure I don't make any loud noises because, if I'm gonna go for the sleep aid type of content, I can't make any big sudden noises. Don't want to turn off the one viewer fan base. Of course. We're almost there. Yeah, we've done it. We did it. Good riddance. That's right. I have to also still remove them. Because otherwise, they may as well not be split, because then I lack the flexibility to shift them around. I need the flexibility. That's what makes this whole thing work. Are you sleeping still? Good. Good, because I'm not even thinking anymore. This is full Kevin, only Kevin podcast. Unfiltered, unfettered, unchained by any other guest. It's just me. A real Kevin podcast with just Kevin. I guess maybe this channel should be called the Kevin Broadcast, not the Kevin Podcast. I'll have to think about my branding. I like to be consistent, but if this technically is live, it's more of a broadcast than a podcast. I mean, I know people live stream podcasts, which is honestly, that's kind of lazy to me. And that's, I don't mean that in a dismissive sense. I mean in the sense that, like, if you are live streaming your podcast and what you've streamed is exactly what you post, like in an unedited format, man, I just don't have kind of time for that anymore. Just lost that amount of free time in my life. There we are. All I'm saying is, a good edit never hurt nobody no how, and you're only going to stand to benefit from having an unhealthy obsession with making sure that you don't sound like you're absolutely fucking insane in podcast format or in Twitch format. And I'm not even face camming this shit. You can't even fucking see what I look like. Can't even see me. For the best. I'm in a basement. It's a dad basement. Alright. All joking aside, let's get back to fucking work. Oh, let's fucking do this shit. Alright. So these are all done. These are all trimmed up. Let's start looking for some music. Alright. So, I like to start going into the moods. It's pretty useful. I'm not gonna, I'm not sponsored by them, or I'm not gonna, plug the hell out of them, but I like, the discovery tools that Epidemic offers is pretty helpful for getting started. You just kind of pick the emotion that you think would fit well. So, it was kind of a fight scene, but it was more him kind of on the sidelines thinking he's gonna die or whatever, so. Busy and frantic as it's, a war scene. That's probably a good start. But then we want to add a bit more to it. Try to narrow that down. Probably dark, because it's war. That does limit it quite a bit. Let's also try to keep this a little bit on brand now that I think about it, and let's make sure that this is kind of limited to adventure music. Let's go back to moods now. So we've got busy, frantic, we've got adventure, and then We even have a sci-fi space. Let's just see what this is. Nope, way too sci-fi. Maybe for future, like future era Mistborn podcasts, but not for this. No, no. Too sci-fi. All right, let's. Actually, it might be useful a little bit more so to sort these by. Not by popular, by track length. Because as we saw before in the recording itself, the original time was 2 minutes 42 seconds. Alright, this is 2 minutes 42 seconds. There's no way that this is like the perfect fit. There's just no way. Not bad. It's got a good tempo. Is it too marvelly though? I try to avoid like anything that feels too something else, something too distinct. Mood change. Alright, would have been cool if that was the right one, but I don't think it is. But let's actually go back to genre and change it to action instead. Action and... No, maybe not action. What were the other ones with adventure? Action, fantasy, and dreamy. So let's put fantasy and dreamy in there, but take adventure out. No. Yeah, no. Sometimes you just know. Dramatic classical. Nope, not right at all. Not right at all. Let's go back. Maybe be busy and frantic is the wrong starting point. Let's go back. Alright. Maybe try dark, and then put adventure back on that. It gives it a good kind of narrowed. No, too dramatic. Alright, alright. Let's give that one a chance. We'll download the stems for that one. We'll get that one on the short list. Now the next one says Adventure Dubstep. Let's just give it a I don't think so. Not a million miles off, but not quite there. The last one, I mean. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Sorry for the sleepers. I ruined my fan list. Alright, that time it was on purpose, but I kind of had I had to know if the build was worth it, and I don't think it is. Not for this, but I like that, so I just saved that to my playlist. I forgot to sort by track length again. Water Dark, what does that mean? I like this one called Chaos Quest. No, but this one's called Defending the Keep, though. Alright, start slow and slow. Bit of a build. It's not bad, but it's too dramatic at the end. Too much. What's also a fun thing to, what sometimes works even, I should say, is I found that one, so it's Proving Grounds. Let's go back to that one. Where were you? Proving Grounds, where are you? Proof. Underproved. Where the fuck did it go? There it is. Found one that I kind of liked. If you click on this double circle, you can find similar songs to that. So let's use that as a new springboard to kind of see if I can find similar vibes to that one. I like it for something else, but not for this. Oh. I can't sort by length. Darn. No, but I actually want to save this as well for future part shindy things. I can't find enough things that just have straight drums like that, which would be great to kind of associate with them. Nope, nope, nope. I'll consider it. It's a little bit long, so I'd have to cut it off at some point. Ooh, something called Orchestrals Tune Number 4. It's actually pretty interesting. I'm finding a lot that I like, just not for this. Feelings are all wrong. Too heavy. Too slow. Doesn't start right. No. Just no. No. Wrong. Try again. Where have these weird ones come from? I only say weird to say that they're not anything like I was expecting. Conquest. Oh, I should have noticed the heavy and ponderous. It's a little bit too heavy and too ponderous for this. Nope. Why are they sneaking in there like that? Or this one's called Choirs of War. I mean, that's gotta relate to fucking Stormlight at some point, huh? Okay, I kind of like it. I'll save it for later. Oh, I've already saved it to my playlist. Great me's think alike. Alright. Well, we found only one that we even halfway consider at this point. That to me tells me that I should be selecting that one. So I'm going to start. Well, first, of course, save early, save often. Always save, never lose it. I'm just going to start a new Audacity file here. And I'm going to minimize that for now. And I'm going to be opening my expired WinRAR. I'm going to drag those stems in here. That's right, this is officially a music mixing stream. Watch out, T-Pain, I'm coming for your crown. Okay. Alright, so here's obviously all the different music broken into their different parts. I can mix it at the end. They provide a mix as well. But sometimes I like to emphasize certain parts a bit more. So this is good rhythm beats, the bass course. Let's just make this a little easier on ourselves. Why don't we? Very nice. Instruments. That's my favorite instrument. And the melody. My third favorite instrument. Alright. Now let's hear the drums. Okay. I like them. They're gonna have to come down quite a bit. Additionally, you know what? Let's play it safe. We're just gonna normalize everything here on -10. Let's just, we're gonna do it anyway. It's gonna happen. There we go. It will be brought down even more in the final mix to make sure it doesn't overpower the actual speaking lines, but let's see. So it's slightly shorter in total length than the actual original read time, which is fine because I'm sure some of it will be condensed potentially. Oh man, that was a real yawn. So let's go ahead and render that track. Now we've got a mixed version. Boop, 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 boop. And let's just normalize that again. But this time, we're gonna bring it even lower. -12. There we go. That will be appropriate. That'll probably come down a little bit more, but alright. So if we have to play with this more, we'll play with it more, but I'm used to having to chop up a lot, but since this is actually a long read-in, I actually don't have to chop up as much as I usually do. So let's go ahead and add in this new line here. Let's rename this from mix to read in music. It does worry me that it's a little bit shorter than the original time, but I guess there is still spacing. I can always extend it. I can stretch it. Ugh. But honestly, I think that the last bit of this, it's gonna have to come tomorrow. I mean, all this build up, all this anticipation, been talking about it for hours. We finally found a song we like, and I yawned once. That's it. I've done that's I have to call it. That's my limit. I've streamed for a half hour longer than I normally do. By normally, I mean the past 2 days. Anyway, at least the stream didn't drop it all this time. Just kidding. Not really. Not real technical difficulties. Anyway, so that's actually will be the stream. I don't have an end screen. Oh. Fortunately, I'll have to make one of those tomorrow because again, I yawned. But don't worry, I've saved my work. I've saved it again. Just now. And I've closed the file. And I'm going to end stream. But thank you if you were here, and thank you if you're watching this after the fact. That's strange to me, even though I do the same thing for other streamers. But anyway, you'll probably see me do another late stream tomorrow night as I scramble to finish this in time. on the plus side, it will definitely take less than 2 hours to finish it off. I just, it's almost 2 o'clock. I mean, realistically speaking, how much longer was I really gonna go? But anyway, back to ending the stream. I'll see you soon, and let's just send you over to nobody. We're just gonna end the stream. Toodaloo.